Hey everyone, this is Coach Mark Nolan, and welcome back to the episode of the NIL podcast series. In this episode of the NIL North Star podcast, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real meaning of 5 stars. You'll discover how the chart star rating system that we came up with measured what truly matters: character, classroom, communication, and yes, consistency, while exposing the camp invite money grab and the myths behind social media hype. Parents and athletes alike, you're going to learn how to earn real stars, how to register with the NCAA Clearinghouse, and then take my final Jeopardy challenge to see if you're really actually on the same page. So let's kick this podcast off. This podcast is where hype meets homework, and where we tell high school athletes the truth about recruiting, scholarships, and what it really takes to play at the next level. Notice I didn't say D1, I just said the next level. And look, I'm Coach Nolan for those who don't know me. For 51 years, I've helped over 4,000 athletes and trained a lot of parents as well, getting over $275 million in scholarships earned. And today, we're separating the stars from the scars. So let's set the scene. Everyone wants to be a 5-star, especially a 5-star athlete these days. But somewhere between the Michelin brothers, who literally came up with the star ranking systems, and the social media rating teenagers, the whole system has gone off the rails. Now we've got 20-something recruiting gurus on TikTok handing out stars like Halloween candy with little to no experience, and even less context on how college recruiting really works. But hey, what the heck, they got their hat on backwards, so they're cool. So today, I'm going to be flipping the script. I'm introducing something new, something real, and something called the Chat Star rating system. And yes, it's because all you folks out there are using ChatGPT. I know you are. Look, the goal isn't to rank you. It's to wake you up. College coaches don't recruit highlights. They recruit habits. They want athletes who can play, think, talk, and act like adults. Not adults trying to be 16-year-old kids. But here's the reality check. Let's start with one of the biggest recruiting hustles out there, which is the camp invite. Here's the truth. Most college coaches aren't sliding into the DMs of 5-star recruits, begging them to come to a camp. They already know who they are. The real targets, the 2.5 and 3-star dreamers, those personal DMs you're getting probably went to 500 other kids that morning. The invite isn't a scholarship, it's a sales pitch. Camps are valuable, don't get me wrong, sure, but don't confuse an invoice with an invitation. The ones doing the outreach are usually GAs or quality control assistants whose job is to fill the camp, not fill the roster. And guess who profits when 400 athletes show up at a $300 a head? Exactly. That's why the Chat Star system matters. It helps you separate opportunity from opportunism. Look, too many athletes today are quite frankly lazy. They throw up a few highlight clips, tag a coach, sit back, and wait for the scholarship fairy to show up. Well, newsflash, she's not coming. The Chat Star system rates the whole student athlete, not just a 15-second highlight reel. And here's what we came up with. The 5 Chat Stars are this. Star 1, athletic performance. Yes, talent still matters, but only if it's verified. Real stats, real game, speed, real pressure. Look, if you can't produce on film, you're not a 5-star. You're a 5-scar. And 2, academic profile. Your GPA, your class rank, your test scores, the stuff that keeps you eligible and attractive. If you can't stay eligible, you can't stay visible. Coaches recruit reliability, not rescue missions. The third one is communication and coachability and character, the 3 C's. This is where most athletes lose their stars. You can't text your way to a scholarship. If you won't pick up the phone, introduce yourself, or thank a coach, you're done before you start. Communication is king, always has been, and always will be. And here's something every parent should know. If your athlete wants to play college sports, they must register for an NCAA Clearinghouse number. That's a 10-digit ID, and basically it's your good housekeeping seal of approval. Without it, coaches can't even list you as a recruited athlete. And I am just absolutely blown away about how many coaches don't know that. And yet many parents haven't heard of it. It costs a little, takes a few minutes, but yes, it's required if you want to play in college. So if your social media bio says class of 2026 D1 bound, but doesn't list your clearinghouse ID, you're not bound anywhere yet. So look, add it to your profile, add it to be part of your brand. And parents, you got to help with this. It's the easiest way to prove your athlete is legit. And here's a pro tip. Post a short quote from your coach, like, John's the hardest working player on our team. That line outweighs 100 hashtags. The fourth star, social media and brand. Every post is either a door opener or a door closer. Coaches scroll your feed before they ever watch your film. If it's full of drama, profanity, or foolishness, you just dropped a star. Be smart, be consistent, be professional. You're not just building followers, you're building first impressions. And the fifth star, competitive readiness index. You're not competing against the kid across town anymore. You're competing against 20-something-year-olds in the transfer portal and 25-year-olds from overseas. When you say, I'm ready, my question is, ready compared to who? The ChatStar system gives you all that you really need to know from a reality check by comparing your numbers to the real college market. And here's how you add it up. You got 5 pillars, you have 100 points. 5 chat stars. Not stars for hype, stars for truth. But you have to develop the truth. That's the difference between being a 5-star athlete and a 5-scar one, the kind who leaves a mark for all the wrong reasons. So look, parents, here's my final Jeopardy challenge for you. When realizing recruiting is not a spectator sport, ask your son or daughter, have you talked to a coach, voice to voice? What's your GPA? What's on your feed when I'm not watching? And here's a bonus exercise I love to do, the final Jeopardy challenge. Have your athlete write down their top 5 dream schools. Don't share with them. Parents, you write your own top 5 schools you think. And then you can cue the Jeopardy challenge. Write that down. When you compare it, you'll see how far apart you really are. I've done this over 785 times in the last 18 months. That's why the communication stars exist. It gets families talking again. So you want to find out your own score? Pretty simple. Just send me an email at mark.nolan@nilnorthstar.com and we'll get it to you right away. And then you can grade yourself in all 5 pillars. Check off your clearinghouse ID and fill out the parent reflection and final Jeopardy pages. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Whether you're a kicker, a punter, a quarterback, soccer player, hockey player, gymnastics, doesn't matter. Stop chasing those fake stars and start earning real ones. Your film might get you noticed, but your character, communication, and consistency will get you recruited. Look, I'm Coach Mark Nolan, reminding you that every star should shine on and off the field. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week in our next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.